Hello and welcome to the Australian Open semi-finals. As I said in the quarterfinals, I was going to cover the rest. And I also will cover the finals, whether I will win or not. This game, we're playing a four-player yearly tournament. And there is a prize, there is a trophy for the winner. So it will be sent a nice globe uh, to whoever wins it. So definitely good motivation extra if we needed it. But here, yeah, there's only 8 players left, so of course they're very likely that there's only strong players left. And we'll look at my opponents: Barbusha, Daniel, and Gross. The Barbusha, I've played a bunch in some friendly games. Been doing quite fine against him, so not too scared. Daniel is a little bit stronger, and Gross is very strong. Is number 3 and 4 player, and overall rating even number 2. And here you can also see like they're all top 25 in the overall rating, so very strong opponents. And yeah, so the only one I've played against was Barbusha before, so I'm excited to play against the other two as well. And let's see how it went with the leaders and wonders. Of course, Bill Gates is important to see. Sid Meier, a little bit Marie Curie with Manhattan and spaceflight for some lab leader synergy, some strength with the Churchill and Gandhi. Also with Manhattan, Pierre, but no internet. Hollywood with Flaming only. Yeah, basically this. And then there's Empire State. Well, of course, Bill Gates can make that work. And then the Red Cross, important to keep in mind. Then H2, we have basically the ocean liner and Suez Canal. Suez Canal has quite a bit of synergies, like there's Columbus, if you want to get an H1 out already to get an extra bonus for your Suez. Isabel to win some, Eleanor to draw some and win some, Barbarossa to have easy colonization as well. And then there's also Sun Tzu to set those leaders up. And yeah, there's no Colossus. Pretty much that's the thing that would be missing, I think. But there's also James Cook even. So yeah, there's definitely some big colonization potential. No, the other wonders are kind of just generic Kremlin, but no Robespierre. So Eiffel Tower statue. Nobel always strong. Watt and Newton. So you could go alchemy, and then you can go into Watt or Nobel to top up the science, or Newton, which is already good enough with alchemy, so that's already good. But you can also go iron, and then you go with some Machu Picchu. You can go with Carol Universitas to help with the science. You can go with Nobel to help with the science. And then if you get a scientific method, then the Isaac Newton is like super, super cool, of course. So a lot of things viable there. Whether you want to go iron or alchemy, or of course both, is also fine. Uh, then there's Catherine, Shakespeare, no Napoleon. Yeah, some military action. I guess if you're stuck with Republic, you can maybe go Kremlin with some military actions here and make it work a bit. Then in H1, there's a lot of strength and colonization stuff here. There's Siska, Barbarossa for the strength, Great Wall, and then Nostradamus as well. Saladin just generally strong, and then some colonization here. Machu Picchu, then there's Happy Face, St. Peter, Forbidden City, and the Universitas. And HA, a lot of good stuff. A lot of like library, pyramids, Roman roads, Colosseum with Barbarossa, Nostradamus, and Columbus and Eleanor. Like actually kind of sick. This Colosseum. Hanging Gardens is there too. Hammurabi is there. Confucius, strong, and then this Sun Tzu has a bunch of synergies. So this pretty good Sun Tzu game. Alexander Hippo, pretty sad generally. Ashoka, of course, always pickable, and maybe with pyramids or library. Similarly, Aristotle also can work with pyramids library maybe. So a lot of things are viable. Nothing in particular except for just like some strong wonders, strong leaders. But I would say maybe some colonization, extra potential, and also there's some strength potential with yeah, Great Wall, and even Forbidden City is honestly a bit of a strength wonder because like you can have extra population with the thing with the happy faces being solved, and yeah, there's like three leaders that do something for the strength, and that could definitely be something to focus on. Now this row is pretty good. Rabusha just takes Hammurabi. I mean, can also take maybe pyramids, and there's a lot of good wonders, so we will get a sorry, but there's a lot of good wonders, so he will get a wonder anyway. If he takes pyramids, there's not an infinite amount of good leaders, so yeah, Hammurabi seems good. Also with the Roman roads, perhaps. Then I can just take Ashoka pyramids. Then I have an action left for next turn to grab a yellow card already, at least. Maybe some more stuff, and yeah, pyramids Ashoka should be very good. Also, if there's some kind of strength push, maybe the extra food can work. Fuses or library, but again, there's more wonders than leaders available, so it makes sense. Then library gets taken, and then we'll see what Gross can get. Then Rabusha, of course, takes the Roman roads here. Very good. With EG is like the dream, honestly. Like crazy start. Then I just elect, and I just do the stuff, and I just take Frugality. With Ashoka having some extra food, the Frugality can even play later. So it's a pretty decent HA card to keep in the hand. And Daniel likes Confucius. And he can take the Hanging Gardens, but there's a Forbidden City coming up, which is basically Hanging Gardens, but you get a CA, so you get a freaking pyramid on top. So this is super sick for him that this comes out right away. So getting some really strong starts. Hammurabi with the thing with EG, and then me with this and pyramid, and then Daniel also confuses with the Forbidden City. Is like super strong. And here is interesting because I think a lot of people like Aristotle more than Sun Tzu generally, and maybe even more with the library because you can keep more cards in hand when Aristotle wants to take cards, and even also the cards that you also get, you can play with the extra signs from the library. So I think that is pretty synergetic. But Sun Tzu, like I said, there's a lot of synergies in this game. There's yeah, uh, Barbarossa. There's well, let's just look one more time. There's Columbus, which is synergy. I mean, Eleanor potentially synergy. Isabel is synergy. Then Siska is synergy. Barbarossa is synergy, and maybe even Nostradamus is synergy if you just put some strength events in, and then you just hide behind Nostradamus. So like this is like the best Sun Tzu game ever, pretty much for the leaders in H1. Like you can boost tactic, which for these two you can get colonizations for these three, and even hide behind with the Nostradamus for some strength defense, which that's a bit far fetched, but a lot of synergy. So I like this pick. Also, being in player four is also sometimes a bit annoying because you can be under some pressure. But this lineup, not so much. Daniel will be probably the only one that wants to seed because Barbusha is Hammurabi, doesn't actually draw that much. I also don't really want to seed because I'm gonna get a lot of extra stuff from my leader. So I just want to get the eco going, and then also I could get corrupted if I keep seeding. So I don't think there's much strength danger right now, but it could be after the leaders come out, of course, still. So yeah, I like the Sun Tzu here. And then Rabusha, interestingly, is already also a bit scared. I don't know if he like exactly drew a tactic, but even yeah, if he doesn't, then I mean he would like to just do EG and build the Roman roads like super cool always. And yeah, I mean I guess yeah, and then just like pop, and then you're just have a perfect turn. But he already takes the knight because yeah, I guess he's also scared about all this strength potential in H1 from all these people. Which yeah, I mean he still gets a lab, so he still gets one production anyway. And with Hammurabi, he's not that scared to run out of actions by delaying the EG special or delaying the wonder. So I guess it makes sense anyway. Of course, now he doesn't have a free population, which we will at least have two people that seed, so that definitely can get punished. And I will actually also seed, and I see the developed territory. I think it was that I had some options this turn where basically I just didn't have much to do with my CA. So I think I was hoping that maybe the developments could help me out a bit because I mean I want three colors in my hand, but I would have to take either like Eleanor or Masonry plus printing press to do that. And Eleanor is possible, but taking Eleanor this early basically guarantees my opponents that they can all go into some Barbarossa, Ziska, Nostradamus, and then it might get awkward. Just having to seed and then everyone being strong. So I wasn't sure if I should commit to this Eleanor. And then the printing press, of course, is a dead weight in my hand. Then the masonry, I was like, I don't think I have the science for that really. So everything was just kind of awkward, and I was like, okay, I mean, I can still do the pyramids next turn, but it would be nice to get this alchemy going. As I said, I mean, alchemy is super cool anyway, um, in general, but also the leaders are pretty good with the watt, mostly, but yeah, a lot of things are just completely fine with it. Um, so I was thinking maybe I just take the alchemy, and hopefully I get like one more science also. Then I can also maybe, well, I could either do the pyramids first and then just build the alchemy directly afterwards, which is kind of cool. So yeah, basically I didn't really like these options, so I just ended up taking the alchemy for 3, which is generally I would like to pay only 2 for it, but still don't have anything to do otherwise. Um, yeah, because of the warrior, basically, I can make a population, but then I cannot put it anywhere, right? So, but yeah, this now I already have 4. I only need 3, so I need 1. So maybe I can also, if I get 2 more rocks, I can like just upgrade 1 alchemy, and then maybe later the 1 turn later somehow. Ah, well, probably not too many rocks in there anymore, but yeah, it would be nice to maybe at some point get an alchemy directly. So it's like my favorite move. I draw like cultural influence and dark ages. Some food. Forbidden city, of course. Starts building. Very cool. Gross actually does not seed, which is interesting, I guess. Um, uh, if this is what he wanted to do with his turn, then maybe he was scared for a corruption. He already has 1 urban growth, so this urban growth is maybe not so good. Eleanor also decides, maybe similar as me, there's even better stuff than Eleanor. So even though it's on 1 CA, he just doesn't want it. Now Barbusha takes Saladin, which is also interesting. As again, there's a lot of strength potential stuff. Of course, Saladin can get +2 strength, which could be clutch. Um, but Eleanor is also here for 1, and you could say that maybe you just keep the Hammurabi for a bit. Basically, because he's basically selling what you lose in MA, but yeah, of course the MA is not nothing. Maybe if you get a monarchy at some point, then it's of course also chill. Then you can like revolt into it, and then you have the MA. So maybe Eleanor is also an option. There are 2 monarchies coming. I'm not sure if someone will go for that. So maybe that is like an option to go at monarchy next turn or something. But yeah, yeah, I'm not sure which one. But I thought this was also maybe an interesting option. And yeah, Alex it, so does not want to go to like a monarchy revolt next turn or something. And it's my turn, and I see it because um, I see it cultural influence. Dark Age, I wasn't sure with the alchemy, right? So here's the crafts. Wait, I thought that the first one was. Oh no, the first one was warfare, of course. Yeah, so there was still crafts, there were still markets. I mean, there's also some other stuff that can give some rocks. So yeah, actually, yeah, there's a lot of rocks, and with that, with that, what? Not much, honestly. I think I was thinking that if I get like one science or like basically civil life or one science or two science that maybe want to go into alchemy and then just make a full alchemy, but I don't think so because I want the bonus. So I guess I just seed it because I can. It's like fine. Just get some stuff in there that you know that the opponent needs to play around, right? And I can use the resources on the alchemy next turn. So I don't think I'm gonna get corrupted. Draw uncertain wealthy. Daniel Siege, of course. It's also always a bit. So there's another development mark, so another rocks if I want. It's always interesting to be aware of how many confused events are in there, because it can definitely be important for some science or some technologies that you want to go into, which definitely will play later, but we'll come to that. So, yeah, he also prepares with the warfare here. Sees the Barbarossa coming. Now, right. I didn't talk about this, but yeah, I did decide to take the Eleanor. It was for one, and I wasn't sure when I will get my leader, and it's something nice to keep in hand. I can keep Ashoka for a long time, like even if I want something like Nostradamus to defend me, but it's also like long term, it's quite nice to just keep Ashoka and then just use the food to actually get stronger instead. And then you just use Eleanor as a transition leader. That's pretty cool, right? So it was now, and it also gives me the food, the third color this turn. So yeah, I decided now is the time to pick it up. And so what is it there, Daniel? Yeah, with the warfare, yeah. Now Gross takes the Barbarossa, and yeah, this of course shapes the game because now you have Sun Tzu with Barbarossa, and it's always a fun time when there's like a fighting band and they can just like spam warriors, and it's not even bad. It's like actually annoying. So now it's 8 strength, and yeah, now we have to react. He can even finish the library. And now you see he actually only has one Philo. And he can even make another guy next turn. Of course, then he needs to solve his happy face at some point, but with the end of the age at some point. But yeah, uh, with the one Philo, he has a lot of population, and then he has the library to not get completely owned by it. So it's interesting now. Barbusha's turn. And let's see. I mean, he is like all the way down to the last blue token, which is blue token from the Roman roads even. So let's see. I mean, he needs to get stronger, of course, just like everyone else. And here you can see that he does need the military action. And he had just way too much stuff to go into the monarchy that turn, so I guess it kind of worked out. If he would have been left alone, if he doesn't do this Barbarossa stuff, then maybe if he has to have Hammurabi, he could just take the monarchy, maybe revolt, but I guess he just had too many resources. I think then he would probably just take Universitas actually and just start building that. But now too much pressure, so he cannot do any of this. And I think the Saladin kind of worked for that. Takes the alchemy instead. Of course, science is low when you're going into uh, first tech this. It's quite sad, of course, for your science. Now, I mean, you could maybe take Universitas and just not pop. No, you needed the pop for the on uprising, right? Yeah, yeah. Because yeah, this universe is pretty cool, of course. But I was very happy because I can now take the Universitas. Here's development of civil life. Now you might think, oh, alchemy and then upgrade alchemy. That's what I would want to do if I wasn't under so much pressure. So um, I just increase my population instead. And then I take the swordsman. And then I just build two swordsmen with the extra population here. And I take the Universitas, and basically I have the same thing as Gross, where I only have one Philo, and I just use my guys for the military, and then he has this going with his library. And he's a little bit ahead of me because it's already done, but I will catch up basically. I'm gonna be a bit later, but I will finish this at some point, and then I will also have my science, so then he will have +2, I'll have +3, but he's a bit ahead of me. But yeah, Pyramid Universitas is of course quite nice, and then yeah, like I said, my leader actually making the food for the military instead of actually going for like a Nostradamus kind of thing, I think is okay for now. And I'm planning to next turn just copy the tactic for +4, so then I go to 10, so it should be okay. Uh, and then I can still just keep building my wonder while just using, yeah, just copying the tactic, so I don't need to invest anything there. Now here the Reign of Terror comes out. And did I see something by the way? Right, I did see that I didn't mention. I seeded the Dark Ages because I was like, okay, actually I'm like 1+1. It's gonna be a little while for this universe stuff, so I actually just seed the Dark Ages. So yeah, if anyone still somehow has some science, then they will lose it. So that was pretty nice. Nostradamus, very, very helpful for Daniel. EG for later, and then Breakthrough, very important. What is still here? I mean, yeah, Great Wall, Machu Picchu, St. Peter. Great Wall would be something for the EG, but he does have the masonry, so I don't know, like maybe it's EG, maybe this Richland is more useful, but maybe he's also doesn't have the science for that either. I don't know. With the breakthrough, I'm not sure. Maybe I mean the EG for what basically, like with the masonry it's just a bit weird, right? Because you do like one, and then with the masonry, then you can't really use the EG, or you basically it costs you two. But that costs you another action to use the EG. Similar with the Great Wall. Machu Picchu it works on, but that seems a bit optimistic to go into Machu Picchu in this game. And the other thing is also, yeah, it's basically, I mean, the St. Peter is also a bit weird, right? With the Forbidden City. The Machu Picchu is weird, so it's basically just for the Great Wall, and then it has some anti-synergy with the Masonry. So maybe you can also just take a Ridgeland here. But he is at least safe. Also not weakest. Gross continues his plan of just increasing his strength. Now he could go one more strength, interestingly enough, doesn't do it. If he goes to 11 strength, I mean, obviously I can go to 10, so that cannot really do anything, any aggressions. Daniel, though, is on 6. And I guess the knights he can take, but he doesn't have the science for it anyway, so he can't go into anything next turn, but he can copy, I guess, and make a thing, so he can go +3 at the very least. So then he is also at 9. So yeah, I guess there's no real benefit unless he can hit Barbusha, but yeah. Barbusha, worst case, he can always get +2 if he really is scared. So probably not that much importance, except for this setting up more for next turns. Like you can up one now with the MA, just using your MA, and then up another two next turn, and just keep getting more and more strength until you get an aggression. But it would depend a bit if he has aggressions or not. I would say that maybe then you can defend or like have some more motivation to get this going. Orisha makes third knight and that does have the happy cavalry now. So he's also strong. Also has the extra Roman road yellow cube to help. Goes for the iron, which is maybe a bit optimistic. Because if you go into iron now, I mean, he does go into Roman roads for some extra science soon. But you really want alchemy first, I would say. Because you want the government, basically. So this will be a little bit of a future project. But of course, there's a lot of CA at the moment, nothing to do. So I guess might as well go for that. And I wonder if you go for a code of law or not and just like go into alchemy. Yeah, take the Richland with it then. Yeah. And then bread and circuses, I guess, yeah, is needed. But yeah, you can see that there's a lot of science here, but so this iron probably is gonna take a while, but I guess maybe there's just nothing better to do. Code of law, I mean, if you go into alchemy and then bread and circuses, at that point you do get a lot of science, like 5 science per turn. But you need the government as well, so this is gonna be a bit tough to get the code of laws. Similarly as the iron, basically. So this is probably fine. Not sure. I mean, if the reserves, it's a bit annoying, right? Spend 2 for reserves and stuff. But that's probably fine. I just adopt the legion, and I don't want to seed because not actually because I'm scared necessarily of something that comes up, or I don't, or if I think that the wealthy is so bad. But actually because I want to keep 2 cards in my hand to be able to defend against Gross in case he decides to go even higher on his strength, because I don't draw anything now. And next turn is also likely that I will spend another 2 military actions. So then I draw again nothing. So if he, yeah, I want to be able to show as much defense as possible. Start building the universes, and I'm like, okay, surely I can build it next turn. I have reserves in my hand as well. So getting the Ashoka bonus, I use the frugality up, so before the end of the age, I can still wait 1 more turn with the Eleanor, and then afterwards, I probably want to seed again. So it's kind of working out, I would say. But of course, this science situation is a bit suspicious. And this will, but yeah, it's basically a problem for everyone that this strength push is just bleeding a lot of resources. And now, yeah, this is a bit interesting because it's like, yeah, the irrigation, not something I want to go into very quickly, but it could be nice at some point because I don't think anyone has irrigation. And even if they would have, then maybe they would take selective breeding instead anyway, and getting some extra food going if you're otherwise maybe you stall out on military if the military keeps going up. So maybe irrigation is nice. I mean, code of laws could be nice because Barbusha will actually get a lot of science, and so he will be the first one that actually can take a government, and then he's in front of me, so he will be able to get that government. And then maybe I can just use the code of law to just go on 6 civil actions for a while until I get my government. But yeah. The problem is basically that if you have so little science and you're gonna take some stuff that all can do something at some point. I mean, obviously there's no yellow cards or anything to take, nothing else to do. But you're gonna clog your hand, and now my hand is clogged. And this was something that I almost never actually have as a problem because I'm like a big science fiend, and I try to play very efficiently. So basically, I pick up things that I know I'm gonna use in like 2 or 3 turns at most, if not earlier. So I actually don't really have hand clock issues pretty much ever. And this is what this game definitely taught me. This game is very different than my usual game where I just go a bit eco. Now everyone is kind of forced into building just military, not even getting the second philo out, and it's very different. And now I do have some CA, 5 CA now, but now yeah, my hand is full. Of course, I can go into Eleanor. I can still do reserves. It's fine for now, but you know, there's H2 coming. There's you want to take more cards. Uh, yeah. So this hand clock issue, if your economy and mostly your science is depressed, like it's like shorted or whatever you want to say, however you want to call it, actually you have to be aware of hand clock. And I don't think I like it's like it's hard to not pick these ones. I think it's still fine, but it will be a question if you should maybe at some point just float the CA, which is just really hard to do. It's really hard to do just to prevent some hand clog. I think this one's probably still fine. These pickups. So yeah, I really like this game because yeah, this direction is some directions I really don't usually get into. There was one game where I played a friendly game against Ipogi, and he like his first moves were literally just build a knight, build a knight, build a knight, and then show heavy cavalry, and then it was like similar as this. But this is basically the second of those games, and they're very tricky. Balancing strength, but also if you can greed a little bit of stuff, that can just snowball into so much. So you really need to balance the strength and the economy very well. And I think it's one of the hardest things probably to do. If you can just play your game with you just make your guys and then you make your economy, it's pretty straightforward. So yeah, here for example, like normally wouldn't want this theocracy, but in this game, theocracy with the warfare especially, but now like theocracy might be actually good because you're gonna get the grass, and like you're not gonna have enough science for tier H2 government, and so there's like all these extra things that you're suddenly looking at. And even like something like yeah, this temple because you want more happy faces to actually get your military out. And now he plays reserves for more food, and he gets another swordsman, and he upgrades the swordsman again. So yeah, here's was something that along the lines that was saying that if he used maybe but he used up all his rocks, I guess. So in a way, he did use up all his rocks, so he couldn't even upgrade more than this. So I guess that is just the most amount that he can get on this turn. And he also takes the warfare, wanting to increase his strength even more, getting the extra military access to just draw probably just some aggressions and stuff. Um, but yeah, also maybe there was nothing else to take. I mean, maybe you can take the knight to get into some other thing than just swordsman at some point, but it's not really what you want to spend your very valuable science on. So, I mean, warfare also not something you want to spend your science on, but I guess if you already have theology, there's just it's just the best thing in the row, I guess. Actually, wait, what just happened? Right, yeah. So here he actually is already a better player than me in a way because he actually doesn't take the knights in his hand, and I assume it's because he's scared of hand clock issues. So he actually just floated the CA, the last CA. I just realized. Wait, let me check that again because if he has 2 CA, then was that the best thing he could do? No, that is not the right one. Okay, I can you just not lie to me, please? Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, he does this. So instead of the warfare, you could maybe take something here. I mean, frugality, when he just goes up, up, I guess it doesn't really work. Alchemy, that could be something, maybe. I would definitely be looking at it a bit. He has like going to four, to four science, then you can go alchemy, maybe just make an alchemy here. That is like another line where you could go into, but I assume that he has an aggression in his hand now, and that's why he wants to go for this aggressive line and then just basically kill Danio next turn or one of us, maybe even. Um, yeah, and then he just decides to take the warfare because he now he doesn't have really. Well, he can still upgrade one, I guess. Which I mean, maybe it's still good. I don't know. He can upgrade one, but goes for the warfare and then float one CA. Very interesting. But yeah, that's definitely, I mean, he has been in this position more often than me, I guess, that he already realized that if he just takes the knight or the bread, it's just very bad. It's just, even though the knight it can do something, if you get like classic army or something, right, then maybe the knight is like super cool. But pretty much anything else, for a long time, this knight will not do much or anything. And then he's actually already worried about hand clock. I mean, but even with the library though, even with the library, I mean, yeah, I guess. Well, I guess we'll see. But that's very interesting. So yeah, but yeah, I do think hand clock it can be an issue. But he does have library at least, so maybe it's fine. So Barbusha, sorry, what did he do? Develops the alchemy, upgrades, increase population, and take the urban growth. Yeah, probably fine. Now again, I don't see it because I actually still need these in my hand, also just to see it with Eleanor, but also just to be able to defend. And here you can see I can build one more and then one more, and now I'm safe because I didn't seed anything in the last two turns. Of course, next turn I will want to seed with this leader. And yeah, here now the bread is actually important because I'm gonna get owned by the end of the age otherwise. So that's what I will do next turn. And then the frugality, I mean, this is now really getting into hand clog. But I was thinking I can go red circuses. Then I can go irrigation if nothing else, which is not even true at the moment. But there's also still, this is where Confucius comes in. So it's very likely that there's maybe a Confucius event here. There's also other events that can give you signs, like knowledge of the ancients and scientific breakthrough. But yeah, here I think with the Confucius you can maybe say maybe some breakthrough or bread and circuses, and then you can go irrigation, and then maybe frugality can do something. But the bread and circus is needed, but frugality is already like, ooh, now you're actually full hand. Pretty scary. And like I don't really want to go into irrigation. I want to go into alchemy, but alchemy is also weird because I can only upgrade one. So the alchemy I guess also sucks. So maybe I do want to go into irrigation. But yeah, definitely some hand clock issues. But it's just tough. I mean, especially if you haven't played this too often. I actually just didn't really think about the hand clock too much. And then just floating your CA just feels so incredibly bad. You need a lot of self constraint to actually just skip a yellow card there. Now here Daniel does have the EG for the only thing that he could use it on, which is uh, the Great Wall. Now even with this, he does wait. He takes the cultural heritage. For what? For one CA. Yeah, he did. He had was one rock short from finishing it without the EG. With the EG is one CA short. So I guess he could have, instead of the cultural heritage, just make one more step, but then he's still in corruption. because it's cost 3, so basically you lose 3 here, but you gain 1 here, so you only lose 2, and so you're still in corruption. So I guess he couldn't really get out of corruption, and his cultural heritage is important. So, and the Great Wall is also important. So I guess I would agree with this move. And now let's see if Gross has the aggression, and he does, and he used the food because, and now yeah, I mean maybe, I mean okay, he has this warfare thingy. There was like a frugality in a row, right? If he knew that he would get this, then maybe you could argue takes the frugality instead, and then you know that you're gonna pop. Then you get the 2 food, but of course the 2 food is not very useful at the moment. So maybe it's also not that great still, but yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. The warfare. I mean, warfare is really just to, I guess, just keep pushing strength and try to draw more, which honestly could be a valid strategy. Just keep pushing your strength, which is your strength in this game. But yeah, without this aggression, and yeah, that's why I also didn't go for, or yeah, that's a good reason to not go for some alchemy stuff. With the aggression, without the aggression, you would actually not have like some uprising, which then you would have to like disband the warrior or something. Um, that would actually lose him like 3 strength, and he would actually be like one of the weakest suddenly. So, but yeah, of course, this is what he played around. This is also what you expect. This is what I expected, that he would have a plunder, and then wants to plunder Daniel exactly for this into the food. I'm sure that that is what his plan was, and it seemed yeah logical. Goes to 16, so still keeps pushing a bit. And here new deposits. No one actually improved their rocks in H1, so everyone gets 3, and of course the Roman roads also just went to science. So now talked a bit about this alchemy, and somehow Barbusha did end up making the alchemy, and now there's like James Watt, Newton, Nobel, and just getting into some government. So he is like the only one that actually has science, really. I mean, I have +3, but I can't really get more, and I need to do the bread and circuses uh, as well. So I'm definitely far out. He's actually +5. So I think after H1, Barbusha is doing fine. I mean, he uses his leader for 2 strength. I got a lot of value from my Ashoka, which is also what you see. I have a pyramid in a universe, so it's pretty cool. But I have like no tax. Uh, but yeah, I do have 5C. I mean, Daniel can finish his Great Wall, but he's still in trouble. Can make Theocracy to be a bit safer, and then, I mean, he still has some stuff, some heavy face. It's all fine, like for the rest of the game, basically, with the Great Wall, Theocracy, and Forbidden City. But he has some science laying around as well to actually get into some stuff. It's a Warfare 5-4 here. But yeah, the strength is a bit of an issue for him for sure. There can also be strength events. And Cross is also interesting. Like, I don't know. He has a breakthrough. He can actually probably go into some iron now. Maybe the scientific method would be nice for someone. Revolutionary idea. Um, yeah, very imbalanced. Or like Daniel did actually only has 2 warriors, but he did have to go into the Great Wall and like get the theocracy in his hand, and like get corrupted even while making this, and make the warfare and stuff like this. So even though he had only 2 warriors and he got the grass now, he did cost him a lot, and he also made a 3rd farm. Gross, I mean, he sacrificed some alchemies to build this, but he got the reward a bit. But yeah, I mean, his eco is obviously not good, but he can do iron with a breakthrough to still maybe get some scientific method at some point. But the alchemy is falling off. Yeah, not really sure what's going on here. I think Barbusha is the best one because he can actually just go into iron, and then he also has science, and his strength is like, well, I mean, he can go to bread and circuses and then make another knight. So Barbusha is looking the best, I think. And then I think I'm doing fine. I think Ross is doing fine, and then I think Daniel is probably a little bit the worst, maybe. Maybe gets aggressed one more time potentially, but I don't know. Like these positions, I have no like I'm never in these positions. It's so hard to evaluate. Because the thing is, if Daniel actually swaps into another leader, he also really can't do that. So if he sees like a Newton or something, then he loses 3 strength, and then Newton is super strong, but then the 3 strength could be awkward as well. So transition could be annoying. I have at least some stuff saved up with my CA. Yeah, but yeah, I think Barbusha is doing good, and other we're doing a bit. We have a lot of issues. I don't know why Barbusha is actually doing so well though. Yeah, he had like the Hammurabi and the Roman roads. I mean, that's just too good. Rome is just so good, right? The Hammurabi. But I mean, I also had good stuff, so I don't even know. But somehow he managed to do this with the heavy cavalry, I guess, being efficient. But I mean, the fighting band is also efficient, so I don't even know how this why is Barbusha doing so well? Not even sure, but I guess. I think the main thing is actually why he's doing well is he actually didn't have to take cards that he didn't want. Like he just have only good cards, and I'm just taking like some like 4 cards in my row that I can't use. So that's a lot of value lost, and maybe even some things for like 2 CA. And similarly, I think for my opponents, like there's some theocracy, there's some corruption, there's like all this stuff, and yeah. I mean, grassroots also be relatively efficient, but then our leaders had was just were giving a lot of value. So even though he has some value from the Barbarossa, I also got like from Ashoka a lot of value when he got the Sun Tzu with no value basically, and like later value, right? With the Barbarossa, but by that time I already had so much food and rocks extra, so I guess that makes sense. Anyway, let's move on. We're already at 45 minutes. Wait, what the fuck? Okay, let's go a little bit quicker because there's a lot to talk about in the end. Um, but yeah, this revolutionary idea is just too important to just take it. Also, getting hand clogged, so honestly, quite happy to take something from 3CA that I can also just always play next turn. Here's one science, which is defend. It's interesting. So, scientific method with the cultural heritage can go into that, but of course, it's also not too many rocks. But the upgrade is cost only 2, so it's very cheap. Wait, no, it's not 2. It's scientific method, so that goes to 7, so it's 4. But it's not. It's pretty cheap anyway. 4. And then the cannon. So here was like, oh, if you have the defensive army, then we're just like dead. Then it's just GG, kind of. Now here again, the whole row is just technologies, no yellow cards almost. And here's a top like Nobel, which is of course very strong. But I mean, he already has good science, so it's not as important for him as for us. Like for us, it would be like giga broken insane for him. But of course, for him, it's still strong because still need a bunch of things, including a government. And then also the 2 strength is definitely very relevant in this game state. And he gets selective reading. So now he has like alchemy plus this 5, like 7 science. He has selective reading already, iron in hand with a rich land. He has strength. And he can go into a government when he sees one, when no one will contest it either. Like no one will take it away. So yeah, Barbusha is really looking really, really strong here. And here, I mean, again, I have like some hand clock issues. This is important to science, but I can't really bid more than 1. And I didn't draw any defense card yet. And revolution idea. And now I decided to go Code of Law. Also because of hand size, but also because I figured that Barbusha will take the first. government, so it might be a while until I get it. And then, yeah, I mean, Cobalt is just very efficient anyway, still. And yeah, so basically here, I think the government is good. The navigation, I think I should actually just skip for my hand clog. I mean, I was thinking maybe irrigation, and then I do like reserves for food and do fragility, then I can do. But like next turn already, I don't know. Like I can just use some, but if there's like scientific method, I mean, I guess I play reserves into scientific method or something. But basically, this navigation is never gonna play. Pretty much. I mean, it can in a certain world, but I don't think. I think this is actually a mistake for sure. That this navigation. I should just float the CA. Take a page out of Gross's book. Gross for now actually has no hand clock issue, so I think he could have maybe taken something, but the game is still long, so it could. I'm also still rambling, but yeah, I think this hand clock issue is definitely this is very bad. Taking this navigation, and we will also see that now. Daniel starts improving a bit. Didn't have time for a scientific method, uh, but he still has. Did he already play the iron before, or no? He developed iron. Wait, how did he get science? Oh yeah, I guess no. I don't know how he got so much science. I missed something. I don't know. It's fine though. Oh, he already got the two. Oh, I was like, yeah, yeah. Hmm? Was there Oh, right, right. The developed territory. That's it. Yeah, the developed territory. There you go. But now I can go iron first if he wants to. Ross takes the Napoleon and statue. Yeah. I was curious if he would go for selective breeding and then just keep the Barbarossa. Maybe one selective breeding out, and then I would get the second, and then Daniel very likely gets the third. But yeah, of course, it's very expensive. So he just goes for this. He can make this next turn. Napoleon, get the third MA. That makes more sense. And here both the selective breedings are there and the coal. There's a watt in the game, so it's getting spicy. Some food. So now I could go for some reserves into frugality to clean up some hand issues. Now this one I don't like. Robusha takes justice system and deploys it when there's double common in the row. What is he thinking? In my opinion, listen, ain't nobody gonna take away these commons, right? Because not everyone is like super low CA and super low science, so it's just really difficult to take away these. So I think it's looking like a big mistake, but we'll see. Wisho wins this for the one warrior. And now you can see already a bit of hand clog, but I can take this like the breeding, so it's still fine. Still, luckily, still find something to do, something very good to do even. Yeah, I don't really have time for the selective breeding. I still have one hand space, but I would rather have two. But at least I can do frugality, then I have two. But two is very easy to just get stuck with because you want to take a leader, maybe you take a watt in your hand, then maybe you don't want to replace them yet. Then you only have one more slot, and you have like six CA. And what else are you doing in your civilization? Like one pop, and then probably want to put it into the military next turn. So that's like one CA. So you have like 5 CA. If you then replace your leader to get an empty spot in your hand again, then you get another 2 CA from Eleanor extra. So then again, you're gonna take something. So you have like the same hand clock. So there's, yeah, I would really love that if this navigation was not there. So people are starting to upgrade their civilization. And Gross, of course. Well, I mean, only he only needs one defend card, but yeah, you can try this. Also opens up next aggression potentially. But if this aggression would land, he would go to 12, go into Conmon right away. That would be basically GG for Cross. I mean, Barbusha is also doing very well, but it would be like really, 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 really strong. But kind of luckily, Daniel can defend. And he does take the Conmon for one. And then he actually, before he was like, oh no, I'm gonna float CA because I don't wanna, I don't wanna get hand clogged. What does he do now? He takes the freaking call when there's an iron here because the James Watt is there, and he is scared of my James Watt when I can't even go into it because I have 4 science. So he's just griefing me, basically. Yeah, I don't know. That's a bit sus, maybe. I mean, even the team sport journalism. I don't know what exactly is going on, but I mean, team sport. I mean, team sport maybe not. I mean, theology is very sad, right? But I guess organized religion maybe would still be better than team sport, or I don't know, like journalism. I mean, there's like flaming, I guess. I mean, it's not that great. But yeah, this goal is never gonna. Well, unless no, yeah. Nah, this is just griefing me, but yeah, I mean, it's fine. I mean, yeah, it's yeah. It does hit me relatively hard, maybe. I mean, there's still a second call in there, and I can't go into this call unless there's a confused event or something that gives science. So yeah, I was annoyed to see this though. Just to kind of like, I mean, why, bro? That is actually, I mean, I think it's actually hand clogging now. I mean, before I was not even thinking that it was like, I don't know if it was hand clog or not. Like, it could go both ways. Maybe it was or not if you take like the knights. I mean, looking at it right now, it definitely might be hand clog. But this call is definitely hand clogging soon. I mean, unless he says the Conmon goes out and then he has enough, which is probably true. The next thing he does is just a Conmon, but it still takes 2 turns. So next turn, if he doesn't go into the Conmon, then he can only take 1 card. So I think it's definitely can hurt him, but this is what it is. In certain borders, what I seen it before. I feel like I forgot to mention that I see like some stuff. Yeah. Wealthy territory and on certain boards what I seeded at some point just to draw with Eleanor. Like this video is gonna be long, it's bad, but I guess. Um so yeah, here this was very important. I was thinking Gross is a bit annoying with the strength. Should I do promise military protection to give him more strength? Then I'll be safe and then he will keep hitting Danio or Busha, and that might be good for me a bit. Now, of course, I want to see it because Eleanor is good. But I actually thought that we saw one Confucius event that was in the first or in the first batch. Here, I think 2 were by Nostradamus and 1 by Confucius. And I was like, if if I get the Confucius event, then my turn is actually good. If I don't get Confucius event, as you can see, I want the what and I want the call. I play the what. I can play the frugality with my thing. Then I can take the call, and then I can take like cannon or something, and then I float the CA again, like 2. Oh, actually more because I get the what in, then I get +2 CA, so I basically have 2, 4, 6, 8 CA right now if I change into the what, and I can play 2 pop, I guess, 2 pop, so it's 2 CA. This is 3. Then I play this. I have 2 cards that I can take, but I have sorry, 1, 2, 3. And I have 8 in total, so I have 5 CA left, and I can take like 2 more things. And like I want to take the cold, and I have 3 CA left. No, I can't take. yeah, I mean, I could take like a Republic or something, which maybe is what I would do to just try to get into that with a revolution. But yeah, it's uh it's a bit annoying, of course. Also, might even get corrupted because I have like 6 rocks here that I'm not doing anything with. No, I would do something with it because I would at least make one swordsman. I would not get corrupted, but yeah, I don't really want to spend 3 CA on this Republic when it will just fall down to 1 always because Barbusha has Conmon, Gross has Conmon, and Danio already has this as well. But yeah, then I'm hand clogged. So yeah, here you can see the hand clog is quite annoying. But I get super giga lucky, and it is a confusing event, and now I can just spend my CA on this upgrade and just get my economy going also. And I can just get this cannon. But again, I'm hand clogged, so it's again a bit, yeah, again I can use. And this was bad, by the way, because I was like, oh, I can wait with the frugality. What if rats come? But if rats come, then I go to 0 food and I cannot play the frugality. And now I'm really hand clogged. So I should have just played the frugality. Then if rat come, then sure I lose extra 2 food, but at least I can grab something from the row, man. So I was like, oh god. And yeah, this one warrior makes 3 strength extra, so it's pretty good. And Daniel takes the Newton as the scientific method, so now he also has science as a second breeding. So, and the Great Wall is doing a lot of work with, yeah, these warriors with also the improved Sun Tzu tactic. These warriors actually doing a lot of work. 14 strength, pestilence, ocean liner, a little bit too strong. There you go. And no, he doesn't have handlock issue, but you can just take ocean liner. So, Risha, rifleman, patriotism, cavalry. And yeah, as I said, like this stupid what is it called? Um, justice system here. Now, like he delayed his common by like a lot of turns. Like this common is still not in play. If you have the extra 7, this thing would be in play for a long time already. So that definitely hurt. But he's still doing very well. I upgrade. And here I'm completely hand clogged again. I have 3 CA left, but luckily there's like a breakthrough here. I kind of wanted this scientific method maybe, and then wave or something, like something could, or like reserve something could be, or maybe even Republic. But like this Republic was also weird because like I don't really have a good time to go into the revolt, and I also have 6 CA already, so my revolt is actually eating away so many CA on that turn, and then also corruption, and then I also have to grab it, and so there's it's like a lot of cost actually, and then I'm also getting pushed by strength and stuff, so maybe that's also something that I need to get more pop out and things like that. So the Republic was very difficult to get into, even if I would have more hand size. I think this breakthrough is actually maybe the best thing to take. There's also this scientific method. It would be nice if I can just do that scientific method, upgrade to scientific method at some point, and then I can finally get some stuff going. But this warrior probably needs to go into this, or this population probably needs to go into this warrior. And I was thinking Ross only has 1 here, but he is getting population out for the scientific method. But maybe he just goes into the Conmon and maybe then just gets a bit of science and just make the cannons and just make a lot of cannons. So I thought that scientific method might survive. But this breakthrough, yeah, again, hand size kind of makes me not have another play anyway. But I think I would have taken it anyway. But yeah, this navigation is just standing here being very, very bad for my hand size. Danio upgrades, and I mean, soon end of H2, let's see. Copy territory. Again, I'm not gonna bid too much, or if anything at all, I don't know. Finish the ocean liner. Oh yeah, that was the other thing, right? I was like, oh yeah, he wants to finish the ocean liner also. Then he also doesn't have enough CA to get this scientific method. So he can get common and then ocean liner and then yeah, basically he does this and then maybe goes into cannon at some point and just lives life like that for a bit. But I was happy to have this scientific method option. Now finally the common comes when he was like very early in H2. He had the common possibility. I feel like, and now it's like end of H2, and so I feel like something went wrong with the justice system there. Take some cards, probably fine. Doesn't hate draft the scientific method. Okay, now finally get some hand size. And there is an oil here, but it's a bit expensive and I also don't really have the science for it. So of course I just take the scientific method and then upgrade it. And now I have some science, 5 science. I have some free pop, maybe next turn, if they're not being annoying. Also, there's so much stuff going on. I seeded National Pride before and Independence Declaration this turn. Or like, was it this turn or last turn? No, last turn, yeah. National Pride and Independence Declaration. I think that was just still. The Independence Declaration was actually the one where I got the Confucius one, so that was definitely good. And then I drew Defensive Army, which is, of course, super sick. I know that they don't have it for one, and then I know that I can get into it, but I don't really want to get into it that quickly if I can help it, because he has Rifleman, he's gonna get this cannon, spoiler alert, and then he has Great Wall with 4 Rifleman cannons, then he's just gonna be able to use that more efficiently, and then similarly, Gross already have 5 of the Swordman. With his ocean liner, he has actually the food to make a lot of cannons, so he's also gonna use it. So I would rather just stick around this amount of strength than going into this and have people push my strength. I actually would rather just upgrade my eco. I think this is very important. And now I can go to 8. I can take the Republic, but again, it's only 2 MA, which is very bad, especially in this situation where people actually have some strength potential. And I do have 6 CA at least, so I'm just gonna have like a billion CA, no science or anything to actually really benefit from taking a lot of tax. So I don't know. This Republic is, yeah, I would have to revolt into it. I mean, it just doesn't really work, right? So I go to 8 science, then have strategy potential, which is also the strength is also nice, and the MA is of course nice, and then I have 6-4, which is not unplayable for sure. This kind of co-op is pretty strong. Both have reasonable science. And here then you start upgrading a bit. Actually takes a very late Suez Canal, which I thought was interesting because I wouldn't really take it at this point. It's just too late, right? I mean, he's gonna get 2 guys, and then I mean, he needs to invest into it. First of all, 3 here, then if he does the EG, he will still do 3 CA instead of the 2 CA with the masonry, so that's already like 6 CA. Then his next wonder is gonna be, so it's a 7 CA, and then this wonder costs like 11 rocks, and then I mean, it's just a lot of investment. So I mean, it seems a little bit too late for that when there's also other pressures to deal with, like strength potentially, which would delay it even more. So I was curious what he would have in hand. I think I already saw autonomous territory, or I am pretty sure that I saw it. So not really sure exactly what is the idea, but the economic progress here, which I didn't see it, of course, but it came out. And now this whole thing with the Confucius event making me able to get to the call a bit earlier than my second call, and now suddenly from that I get the extra rocks, and now from the eco progress I also get rocks. So that was really a snowball moment where I got very lucky that I got the +1 science there. That's a motion liner. Still needs one more turn. He gets the rev idea, which is very important. And he gets the oil, which I think is fair. But yeah, I think it's fair because I think even Barbusha could go into the oil, and then that would be just very strong. Also have an efficient upgrade, and then Barbusha just wins basically. And I can also still go into the oil because it's just early enough. I even don't even have this upgraded, so it saves me a CA compared to having already triple call and it's so early that I can definitely still do that. So I think this like call deny was maybe, I don't know, but this oil deny definitely makes a lot of sense. But again, it grieves me, but I don't think it grieves me. I think it grieves Barbusha. As in, it's annoying. It's more annoying for Barbusha because I'm pretty sure he would take it and not me. Historic Territory comes out. I mean, again, it's just I kind of need everything that I have, so I didn't really want to win this. Oh, and here I played some mind game. I already played a mind game I think before, or well maybe it was another game, but basically here I decided to put in 5 because I didn't really want to win it. So I mean I could put in 6. I think it's okay. It's okay to win, but not really that great. Um, but if I put in 4, then I know I have one defense card tier 2. If I put in 5, then I think that I might have a defense card tier 3, right? Because, I mean, nothing else is 5. So, I mean, if I put in 4, then they might think I do a 2 plus 2 or double 2. If I do 6, then they might think I have 1 or maybe, I guess, maybe 2, but I think I don't even know if I have 2 H2 in my hand. But basically, if I do it like this, I don't really win it. If I win it somehow with 5, I have to send 2 swordsmen. It's still fine, so it's not even like it's dangerous. But I was pretty sure I wouldn't win it with 5. And now I get a little bit of mind game where they think I have a H3 defense card. Yeah, I do have 2 H2, but once I show this, then they will know that I would have only 1 at most. But yeah, so the +2 defense with the H3 card. I think when it's this close with the strength, could definitely be a difference between someone aggressing me later or not. Um, so I think that was a nice mind game that I did. I think it was pretty cute. I mean, nothing better than some good mind games, right? So here, early computers, there's Manhattan Project coming, Spaceflight coming, Nobel with Nobel prizes. So that is very strong. Also, he has scientific co-op even. So yeah, Barbusha, I mean, kind of getting. I mean, the Nobel was very strong, but he was already in a good position to be fair. But then he got the Nobel, which is very strong, and now he gets the computers, which is very strong. And he got the common, but he actually, I think he misplayed a bit with the justice system, so he didn't fully get stuff out of that. But yeah, definitely some good stuff going for him. Now, finally, I actually have a full H2, which is extremely rare. Normally, you would get something in H1 going. But it looks kind of cool. And yeah, my what, my best friend, a bit of industry. And here Bill Gates comes out. Now, Daniel could take it. I mean, he has one scientific method, but he is like floating a billion things, billion rocks, billion food. So, I mean, he it's very costly. He also wants to take the cannons very badly. So I guess he opts to not do it. And he just finishes Suez. And what does he do? It's actually just a developed territory. So, I mean, science is good and all, but I don't know. Feels a bit strange. I mean, for example, yeah, now you can get into the next scientific method instead. Already, instead of making this, then you also just get another 3 science this turn, and yeah. I'm not really sure if I understand this Suez, but it's here. And yeah, they are building the cannons. Of course, the best thing to do into H3 if you don't really have a tactic. Most things work with cannons. And it also takes the tanks for some flexibility. Maybe some tactics that he has. It takes the movies, which is maybe optimistic. Maybe could have taken some yellow cards. I'm not really sure what happened, or like what the exact options were. But oh, so is this the right move? It always shows that it's there, but oh my god! And then I even go to 15, and then it actually goes to 2 back. Okay, what? Can you just stop giving me the same thing? What? 12? No way, right? I think it's just bugging out or something. What the hell is going on? Thank you, game. No, this scientific co-op was pretty funny, by the way. Oh no, not sorry, the scientific co-op, not. Yeah, will come later. Peace treaty. What the hell is going on with 3 play, man? Sorry about that. The arms industry was also a bit sad. I got like 0 rocks. Alright, so yeah. I mean, he does still need some stuff, but yeah, I just forget he doesn't do anything. Engineering. What is this? Because I thought there was like nothing, right? You have only like flaming. I mean, Hollywood, I guess, but it's a bit optimistic. But maybe this he didn't think this was good enough. The movies seem hard though to make work. And he also didn't take the Bill Gates, so that means that the Barbusha gets the Bill Gates, and with that, I think everyone understands that he should win the game with the space flight, with the Nobel prizes, with having a million rocks, with having Conmon, with having, I mean, everything is just working for him now. So at this point, I was like, okay, he's first. How do I get second? And if you look at it, we're pretty similar in culture. And then Gross has the food from the ocean liner, some rocks. We also have food and rocks, but my yellow bank is running short, and their yellow bank is quite good. So food I'm definitely behind. Rocks I'm a bit ahead. Science I'm also ahead, but I don't have any government. But at least I have good CA anyway. So we're like similar on the CAMA anyway. But I just don't have a government. If I can get into a government somehow, that would be nice. Then I'm doing quite well. So, I mean, looking at this, I think I'm looking fine for a second. But yeah, there's also some Great Wall. Like their strength potential is higher than mine with the extra population and then the Great Wall and the ocean liner. So, all in all, I think I'm not really necessarily favored at all. But it's just close, I think. It's just close between us three. It's anyone's game. And yeah, there that comes out. I thought I would maybe win it, but Gross caught up, and I think with the historic territory giving him 11 points. Did he get the historic territory? Yeah, giving him another 11 points, really seal the deal, go to 40. But even without would go to 40. Even without he would. No, did he already get it now? Yeah, without it, yeah, because now he got 11 plus the 5 already in, so that's 16. Otherwise, I would win it without the historic territory. So that's a bit sad, I guess, but Now here I decided to take the pro sport because I my urban limit is actually two, so I actually cannot make more bread and circuses to fix my happy phases if I wanted to. And this also gives me some strength, of course, some impacts as well. And then also there's Pierre, so it's good for later as well to just get some pro sports um, later as well, making like a third one maybe or a fourth. But um, yeah, it is pretty expensive. Like there's also like Manhattan Project for some extra strength. Yeah, that was a bit of a difficult turn, I remember. But I think it was correct because I also thought that there's two pros for that. And I thought it was pretty likely to be taken away because Barbusha always takes it away, and I thought that maybe I mean Daniel also needs a happy face solution still, although it's not really true. Maybe I forgot about the Forbidden City. That could actually maybe I could have just not taken it. Yeah, maybe that was a mistake. I actually forgot about Forbidden City. I'm pretty sure. Oh, right. That was the other thing. Yeah, I was thinking also, I think without it, my happy faces were bad or no? No, I would actually be okay, right? Yeah. No, actually, I'm not really sure. Oh, yeah, yeah. No, that's true. If I would not do this, then I would up my population. Then I would have unhappy faces and at least one. And I was also looking that there was still immigration, still civil unrest, and that they would all want to see it from their position. So it was extremely likely that would be in as well. So that was like another reason to do this, but maybe it's not the end of the world if that hits me. And then I could just take the pro sports later and I just go for this Manhattan project and I actually have some rocks for it. So this could actually be quite a big mistake potentially that I didn't really. Yeah, I know that I thought about that turn a bit because it felt a bit weird, but it had a lot of upside. Mainly that yeah, if they get taken away both, then there's actually no way for me to get higher except for making like one more religion or something, or like some opera, some movies, which is not really gonna happen. So I guess yeah. I mean, maybe I mean it was definitely very like these posts were very important, but if I could get them for one CA, that would of course be super cool. But it's a bit risky. With Tree Alliance, with Robusha, I mean he knows that Robusha's gonna win, so he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to like he doesn't care if he gets protected, Robusha. And he actually goes for the Churchill here, which is what I was wondering about if he would take it because I wanted it. Of course, with the low science, and now he also goes for the tanks. Then if he does it like this, and Daniel made this army with a modern army. Then if he does it like this, he goes to 5, then he goes to 7 next turn, plus the Churchill goes to 10, so he can go modern infantry in 2 turns. So that is nice. Otherwise, there's just no chance without Churchill, so this makes a lot of sense. But of course, I didn't know that Daniel would show that on his turn. Now the peace treaty, which is kind of funny because this will be a little bit something later. But Daniel, of course, is about much stronger, so he wants to keep his option open and also force Barbusha maybe to defend a bit more. But generally, you do that so that he has to defend a bit more, and then you can overtake him. But Barbusha will always win, so that part of it is not really so true actually. Um, so it's just that if you think that you can will actually war Barbusha and gain more points, which you don't really want to war Barbusha because Barbusha will just win and will be very hard to war. So this is actually a very funny peace treaty, which looks like insane to accept, but might actually be okay to accept. Because then you also don't have to worry about Barbusha being stronger later when he has definitely the by far the biggest production and stuff. and then then you can just be like, okay, if he hits me or Gross, then you're super happy. So when I saw this, I was like, yeah, of course you don't accept. But after the game, with a bit of hindsight knowledge, seeing how the game will like naturally also progress, this is not an easy decision because of him wanting to be second and Barbusha getting first anyway. But he declines. Then makes more computers, get the rockets, so gets everything, gets the pro sports. I mean, the Nobel Prize, get some stuff. It's just the nuts. He is slow on culture, but I mean, there was no doubt in my mind that he would not win. Now, I was talking about this defensive army, how I didn't want to show it because my opponents were gonna use it better than me. And now I have them do some quote unquote awkward moves. I mean, yeah, I mean he went to do the tank, which I mean of course for him is perfect. But Gross maybe would not have wanted to do this with this mobile artillery nonsense. But of course, if he gets the modern infantry, then it will be working out for him. But without it, maybe he would have just would like to copy the defensive army. But now they did some moves that if I show the defensive army, it's basically only good for me, and they can't abuse it. So I think that was very important, and that worked out well. That I can still be safe, at least for this turn. And here I was again like thinking, should I take this mech agriculture because I'm getting hand clock? But I thought I have some reserves, and I was looking at my yellow bank. I was thinking maybe I want some agriculture, and then maybe I can get one more pop out. But I don't think so. But the other thing was there's a red cross, and everything like no one can actually go into this Hollywood. So their space flight is taken, and these are gone. So this red cross is extremely important. Now I don't have agriculture, architecture or anything, so it will be difficult to take. But there might be a spot because Rabush already has a wonder, and then if it comes on Daniel, he would have to take it for like 6 CA, which is literally impossible for him. And similarly, Gross doesn't have a lot of CA and also has already 3 wonders, so it would also be like 6 CA. So it could drop down to maybe even all the way to 1, which would then be like 3 CA, and then I can maybe take it, build 3 steps, or I can just take it and then have people build some steps, and then at least I get 2 steps, and then I get +5. And the other thing was that Gross is on 2 food, so if he doesn't get more food going or reserves, then I can even get 3 steps. So this agriculture could be maybe something nice still. And I draw some more impact. Freedom of movement comes out, so now they can make their army a bit easier. And now is the question, like, where does the air forces drop? And Gross can now get for this more infantry, and now it's a lot of nice potential. With the military build-up, or the infantry, perfect. So that he can go into, well, 2 modern armies, but the problem is Daniel already has 2 modern armies, so even he's actually weak still. And there's the air forces, military theory, and he also goes. Everyone loves modern army except me. And now this is the turn of the game. Well, it was very complex turn. So strap in because this is gonna take the last like the next 20 minutes. I actually prepared quite a bit for this. Some paint and some notepad and things like this. But here we're in a position that, yeah, our culture is pretty close, our production is pretty close, impacts are pretty close. So it's just very close between me and Daniel. Gross impacts are worse, but he is a bit of a culture boost. Now there's this strength problem, right? Daniel can go into air forces, does have enough for patriotism into double air forces, but he doesn't actually have enough CA to do all of that and go to like 100. Um, no, let's see. I mean, let's just go here and see all the cards. And there's a freedom of movement here, right? So I'm thinking Rabusha gets first. It's obvious. How do I get second? And when do I not get second? And when do I get second? So I was thinking, and this may or may not be true. The question is basically, should I give the pact the hmm? Can I not click on this? Basically, this loss of sovereignty. I guess I'll just spoil it that I did go for it. So I give this pact to Gross, then I get plus 2 culture. He loses 2 culture, and no one can declare war on Gross. Now, um, yeah, let's go over it. What are the pros and cons, basically? I mean, let's go to the notepad first. And keep in mind, I actually did all of this in my head, and I actually just like thought about this for like 30 minutes, and then I played a move. Um, but then for the video, I was like, I think I need to write some stuff down and do some paint stuff. But in the game, I was doing this all in my head, and I basically I never use a calculator or I never write anything down. But this would be well, maybe not the first time, but this would be a time where it would actually be pretty useful to do maybe both because it was like way too much. And even after I made my move, I was like, you make your move and then you see some stuff play out and you're like, oh, I didn't think about that. Or like, oh, I actually miscalculated this. And oh, there was also this. And this was like maybe this was one of the hardest, most difficult turns in ever. Maybe the most difficult turn I've ever played. Um, Now, assumptions to give the pact. I'm defending Gross against the wars. So I was thinking that Daniel can war Gross this turn or next turn with some air forces, and with that being everything kind of similar for us, him just getting those extra points. I was assuming maybe like 20, 25 points. That would basically get him over the edge, and then I would not get second. And basically, if you're not second, you're not through, so it's second or bust. Then I wanted to maybe make Daniel the target of war. If I take Gandhi and Gross also is unwarrable, then Barbusha could maybe war Daniel. And I think Gross, even though he's a bit ahead, I think I'm very fav. I think I thought I'm favored to win against Gross, um, because his impacts are just very bad mainly, and yeah, mainly that. But he can still get targeted by also aggressions. That's another thing. But mainly his impacts are just very bad, and his culture will not go up. Mm. So yeah, Rabuja can ward Daniel, and then I think that is my main competition here. And so then I get second. That's good. Or if it doesn't war, at least Daniel has to be extra careful, and it will be harder for him to go into movies or multimedia when he also has the leader for that. And I also thought that I am safe from the war with Gandhi against Barbusha. And the extra culture, if nothing happens, it's very close between me and Daniel. So just me getting like 4 culture, maybe 6 culture, can definitely make the difference between me getting second or not. And I also thought that it might be close between Gross and me still. Like I thought I was a favorite to win against him just by impacts and stuff. But if things don't go my way, maybe you still have a chance. And then, of course, me getting +2 and him -2, then I should always kind of win against him. So these were all assumptions. Now I kind of did some calculation, thought about some things, and then I decided to go for it. But let's actually now, after the game, go into it in depth. And for that, I have some beautiful paint. So first me, this is after my turn. I took Gandhi, I upgraded some food, which is a whole nother story if that's like the best move or not, but let's just assume it is the best move. Sets up for the the Wonder, the Red Cross, and some other stuff. And it keeps like these upgrades are free, right? With what? So I upgrade with what for free, and then I have enough. I have some food for the Red Cross, and I also have enough rocks to actually go into triple air forces. So in yellow, or sorry, in white is my CA basically for next turn if I want to defend. So this turn I'm just at 50 after having triple this with the freedom of movement and everything. Next turn, if Barbusha decides to attack me, then I can, because he does have 7 MA by the way, then I can basically build 3 air forces, but like disband, 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 play air forces, play reserves for rocks, and then I can still maybe take a democracy as my 6th civil action. Then with my MA, I mean, I can build 3 air forces. I still have 2 rocks. So I could even make a warrior, just in case that matters. It's 83 or 84 strength. So that's me. Then Barbusha, if he wants to attack me, I thought I would be safe. And I actually already played my turn thinking I would be safe. But I'm actually not completely safe. So this was my first wrong assumption. And the biggest misassumption, I would say, by far. Um, so what can Barbusha do? He has 7 CA. So he can do Air Forces, play Patriotism to get it costs 6 MA to war, unless he has the bad war. But if you have the bad war, actually, oh, I didn't even think about that. Like the bad war being the hybrid war. That would be very bad because then he can actually just build, and then just do a big war, and then he would always target me probably, and then I would just die. So the hybrid war would actually be insta loss. So I don't know how that would affect things, but yeah, I mean, there are so many things to think about. The hybrid war, I mean, it does do some happy phase, but he can make some pro sports. So yeah. Anyway, keeping the hybrid war out of it, let's just say he has a normal war, which is pretty likely because I only drew 1 war. Um, then he does Air Force Patriotism, so now he has 2 MA left. Then he pops, he disbands, makes a pro sports, makes 1 pro sport, and he could even make 2 pro sports. He does have enough CA and rocks for it. And then with his MA, he makes like 1 rifleman and then 1 Air Forces. And instead of the pro sports, you would really like to just take the democracy instead, because that's just very good for him. So I think he would not upgrade the second pro sport. If he does, it's 88, which is the most he can get. 85 is what he would normally get. So with this line, yeah. So that's against me. Now, if he wants to target Danio, now he has enough MA, right? So now he can actually build 2 armies plus 2 air forces with the 2 armies. So if he targets Daniel, then he basically does similar thing. He just Air Forces pop, pro sports, but now he has to kill off 2 mines, which is fine. Like he has enough rocks, so it's like fine. To make double Air Force and a rifleman, and then he can still do a pro sport upgrade. And again, I think he would not want to make the second pro sport upgrade, but would rather take democracy. In this line, he gets 103 strength, 206 if he does double pro sport upgrade. So that is important. Then Danio, if he gets basically after my turn, this is how it looks. There's two cards coming off the row. If this is Air Forces, costs 3 CA to make Air Forces. He takes it for 3 CA, he gets them for free with Newton. Then his 4 CA is population. It costs 3 MA to war, let's say. Then the patriotism is his fifth action. And then he gets 2 MA to make 1 Air Forces. And then with the second MA, he can upgrade into a rifleman for the most amount of strength, which would then be 84 strength. So if he gets the Air Forces here and attacks Gross with it, he can make 84 strength. If he doesn't get it now, he can prepare in a way that he has enough rocks and then he puts down some population so that he doesn't need CA for that. Then he can grab the Air Forces for like 3. Then Newton is probably gone, so then um, he needs to spend another to make the Air Forces. But then he can play basically 3 Air Forces, 4 Patriotism, 5, and then just make 2 Air Forces. And then he can go to 100, 100 plus. But that requires a lot of setup because he needs 2 workers here. He also is gonna lose 2 yellow tokens by the next time he's up. So he also needs to dispense something for that. So yeah, to not get the uprising. So setting that up is actually quite annoying. Yeah, but he theoretically he could do a 100 plus in the next turn. So this turn 84. Then lastly, oh wait, this. So we were talking about this turn and then the next turn, but it's basically this is with preparing for Air Forces or getting Air Forces this turn. If he doesn't get any Air Forces though, he can go still to 92 strength because he has so many rocks that he could make another whole army. And then he goes to 92. Well, this will come in a second, but this is the number now that is important, 92. Basically has to spend like his whole ass, but this is basically just to defend against Barbusha without air forces, right? He has to defend all this stuff or kill all this stuff. 3 for making units and 1 to not get uprising after the age ends. So and then he can play patriotism, and then he has enough rocks to get exactly 3 things with Great Wall as well. I think it should amount to 92. So that is that. And then Gross, he, this turn, can go to 76. He can just, I mean, if he doesn't get attacked, well, that's what you will see later. If the most amount he can do is basically just disband 2, make modern infantry, military build-up. He gets 22 rocks in total with Churchill together with the military build-up. And then he can make 2 fresh modern infantry and then upgrade 2 into modern infantry, and that will be 76 strength. Now, if he doesn't get attacked by Daniel, then he would like to just upgrade 4 times, goes to 70 strength this turn, and then next turn he can basically build. He would have 15 rocks next turn, which would make him a cannon, a modern infantry, and a swordsman for 5 plus 7 plus 3 is 15. So it would exactly make another army, but it would be outdated army, and that would result into 87. So this is all the strength potential high-low for this turn and next turn, and it kind of looks like this, which then it shows you that if I don't give Gross the Pact, he can get attacked by Daniel with this turn 84 with if the Air Forces come. And Gross can defend with 76. So that would be 8 difference plus 5 from the war modifier. So that would be 13 point swing, which is, I mean, I said that we are basically equal with everything. 13 points is important. It's not the end of the world. Yeah, but it could definitely make the difference. But I actually thought it would be like 20 or 25. That was kind of my gut feeling, but it's actually less. Now, then if he sets up for the Air Force, he could go into 100 plus, and then Gross can defend with 87. And this is not taking into account that he could even also plunder or raid Gross or something else. You can also get armed aggression intervention to also get some points. And then if he does armed intervention now and then war next turn, then yeah, that could definitely be maybe too much. But I don't know, the setup for the war is a bit weird, annoying. And then of course it could happen that uh, the Air Force just come on Gross's turn and he sets up for this Air Forces and then he actually doesn't have any Air Forces and then suddenly it might be a bit weird. But at least then he can still go for this line with no Air Force, go to 92. He could still war if he wants to, then still wins it by 5, which is another 10 points. So I thought this was more dangerous. I thought it would just be GG if he attacks, especially in next turn with the 100 plus. But Gross actually can defend more valiantly than I thought. I mean, I looked at it a bit and I was like, yeah, I think like 80 and 100 or something. And then like there's so many numbers with everyone, right? It was hard to keep everything together and clean because there's also like there's the CA, the MA, the strength, the rocks, the row, the random events. There's the Great Wall. There's the Churchill modifiers, and like there's like so much stuff. And then there's maybe some random aggressions coming through that impact things. So there's like so much stuff to think about. But basically, I think this is a danger, but it's not as massive of a danger as I thought. I can still win if he does pull off some war, because at least that does mean that he doesn't go into his movies and stuff like this. So he will only get stuff from wars. But this is definitely some dangerous stuff. It's not nothing, but not as bad as I thought. Now, here you can see that if Barbusha decides to attack me next turn, he actually will win by like 2. Now, the funny thing is if Gross decides to cancel the military alignment, which is was also in there, then I would win, but there's no chance that Gross would ever do that because he knows that Barbusha will win the game and he just wants me to not get second, but him getting second, so he would never help me with that. So that means that Barbusha will always win the war, but only by like 2 points. Um, so it will only get like 7 points. It will hit me very hard though because I will have to like disband like some scientific methods. So it will basically be kind of the end of the game for me. But it's not actually so good for him because like he has like other moves. First of all, if he wars me, he can't seed, and all his impacts are very big. If he wars me, he uses up all his military actions, so he doesn't draw. So if he doesn't have anything to seed, he also doesn't draw anything good to seed. If he does have something to seed, he can't seed. So either way, he will give up quite a bit of points. Um, and then he also cannot go into democracy that turn because he doesn't have enough to go into air force and democracy. So that's another 3 points, and he also cannot take some other cards that he wants for his wonder. Like every technology is 3 points, and then double technology is Nobel points. So this very small win is not very good for him for his own position. It's very bad for me though. But since we're all pretty close together, I don't think it's that important for him to target me. Then Barbusha can attack Daniel also next turn. And as we said, if Daniel prepares perfectly with the arrow forces, he can go into around the 100. I didn't calculate exactly because I thought it was not very likely that this would he would go into it, but it was like 100, maybe like 100, 102 or something. But I think Barbusha would win that. I think it was like maybe even yeah, it was around 100, but I don't think it was more than I don't know. But I think Barbusha would win it even with the Air Force setup. Um, but it would also be such a small win that it would not be worth it. Um, Now, of course, there is the line where the Air Forces are coming out on Gross's turn. Then Daniel cannot go into Air Forces, and then he would have maximum 92. Then the war is a little bit bigger. It's kind of a similar situation as against me. It's like this war is a bit bigger. It can be like plus 11, so that's 16 points instead of 7 points. So that would be a bit more interesting. Uh, so that would maybe be something to to consider. So that would basically mean that if he thinks that's a good, that's if he thinks that's good for him, then this pact would already be very nice because that basically means that if the Air Force come out on Gross's turn, I basically just win the game. So that would already be yeah. But it's definitely I think it should be positive. But if he has like some good impacts already in his hand that are like even better than that, or he's just thinking like I'm gonna win anyway, which is also something I considered. I was like maybe he just thinks I'm winning anyway, so he's like I can war Pitor, I can war Daniel, and basically make one of them lose. So I'll just not war anyone. Though I think warring Daniel, if he doesn't have our air forces, would make a lot more sense than warring me. Um, so yeah, is that it? I think that's it. Yeah. So what does that mean? If you go back to the notepad, um, um, hmm, here, going up to 2 hours, but it's what it is. So if we say it's assumption defending Gross against the war, then you can war Gross. I mean, or next with Air Force and a win. I said the Red Cross can always bail me out potentially. Um, he actually can't build double air forces, so the war is more than I thought. But still, he can get a pretty big war, especially in if he sets up for the double air force turn. But it's a bit awkward probably. Um, so it's somewhat true. Making Daniel the target of a war. Barbusha can war Daniel if he doesn't get air forces. Actually, still has a good defense possible. But it's still pretty strong to war as Barbusha. I said plus 16 points. So is that what I said as well? I mean, like 103 to 92 is like, yeah. Uh, that's like 11 plus 5, 16, yeah. So like 16, so it is pretty true that Barbusha can definitely war Daniel. That is pretty true. Daniel has to be extra careful. I thought Gross would be the target for Barbusha if I don't pact, but Gross can get to a respectable 87, so Daniel couldn't really neglect the the strength that much. So it's somewhat true because he does have to be a little bit careful, more careful, because he can still become the target more easily now. I'm safe from war with Gandhi is not true. I actually always lose the war, which I should have calculated that more thoroughly. I thought like, oh, I go plus 33. He only has 2 MA, and I'm like safe or something. I don't know. Very bad. I didn't. I saw those pro sports as well, so I was like, okay, I maybe also can do some pro sports, but it's probably not enough. I don't know. It was stupid. But in the end, he can only win by like 2, which is like 7 points. That also makes me have to kill my civilization, basically me out of the game. With a small win for Bush is not super worth for what he gives up, seeding, drawing, getting into democracy, has to disband. He's also already winning, so maybe he doesn't care about the war as much. So it's not true, but technically probably true, somewhat true, as it is likely not worth for him to war, and also Daniel can also be a nicer target to war. Um, then the extra culture, this is actually the biggest reason to actually give, because I think it's very close between me and Daniel. So it's very true that this 4 to 6 culture makes a big difference. And I probably win versus Gross, but it could be close, is somewhat true. So after all this analysis, should I pact or don't pact? I mean, I'm curious what you think. I think I should pact though, because I think first of all, I mean, whether I give Gross the pact or not, Barbushik can just actually okay. If I don't give Gross the pact, Barbushik can hit Gross for like 100, right? But now that doesn't improve my position against Daniel at all. So I still have 50-50 to win, right? Let's say. If I make Gross invulnerable, I think it's 50-50 also for Barbusha maybe to hit me or Daniel. But we will go into why Daniel actually will pretty much never get Air Forces. Well, with the line he took, to be honest, but he could. Yeah, it's basically if he prepares with the Air Forces, then he doesn't get any multimedia movies going. And then even if I get Ward, I could still win. But probably not. But basically, it's like okay, then if Gross can get targeted, he will get targeted. If he doesn't get targeted, it's not so obvious. If I get Ward at all, or if Daniel gets Ward, and if anyone gets Ward, maybe it's even more likely Daniel. So then it's already still in my favor. But this is mm, very hard question because it's like depending on if our Air Forces come down or not, and then when, and then how much Daniel wants to prepare for them is a very big question because he can prepare for them quite nicely. But then if Barbusha doesn't war me, then suddenly Daniel has pretty hard chance, pretty hard. It's like difficult for Daniel to win at that point because I'm getting like the extra 4 to 6 culture, and he cannot war anyone, and yeah. So I think basically that making Gross immune and making Barbusha hit either me or Daniel is actually not bad for me necessarily for my chances. Because if it's 50-50, before it was also 50-50 when Barbusha hits Gross, and now it's still 50-50 because he is just as likely to hit me or Daniel, or maybe even more likely with Daniel, but it would have to. That's difficult to say. Um, so for now, it's just very positive, right? So what is the negative? Yeah, if I get hit, but I think that is basically a chance that I'm willing to take because I think there's a chance that he will hit Daniel that is equally as big. So in the end, I think it was correct that I gave the pact or I offered the pact. Imagine he just denies it, and I'm like, okay. I actually thought so long for the pact, and then he just denies it. I mean, that's the other question, but I didn't have anything to do, so it's either I just do the pact. It's like no cost for me. I can just offer the pact. If he denies it, I didn't give up anything because I didn't want to put in the impact of competition or culture at this point. So at least I didn't have to think about that sunk cost or whatever you want to call it, like having to, well, basically it being costing something to offer the pact and him denying. Um, so I think it was positive, but I definitely did not have the details down in my head exactly. I had some assumptions, and then I looked at it a bit, and I thought that it would be more true than it actually was after now analyzing everything. But even now that it's less true than I thought, I still think it's definitely the right choice. For now, I think it's definitely the right choice. But if you have any comments about that, I'm very curious because, like I said, there's just so much to think about. It's very easy for me to just overlook something or miscalculate something. But basically, that is the whole game. For me, this was like the whole game. Like I just this was like half of all the time in this game spent is on that move. And then I just do this, basically to set up for, yeah, like I said, the red cross mainly, and I still have enough to have the best defense possible. Then, yeah, this was the other thing. There's one plunder in the game that can hit me with 4 MA. So he could actually hit me with the plunder, but as you can see, it's still likely he hits Gross with the plunder as well, or he just doesn't have it. There was like some line where I can play the navigation and don't go into the mechanized agriculture, then I would have enough science for the air forces next turn. And then the 2 extra defense makes me go to 52. And then basically 1 defend here plus a 3 H3 defend would already be from 52 would be 10 plus 2 more from the MAs, 12. Then I would be safe against the plunder, but I just couldn't really play around this one plunder that he might not have, and he also might not want to target me with. So yeah, but that was another thing that I had to think about. And I drew Impact of Progress, and now I really want to play this navigation. But this was very interesting because Daniel actually goes for this greedy line with taking the library, and I think he missed something, and it's almost impossible to see from this point. But maybe, honestly, maybe he didn't miss something because, like I said, if he doesn't go for the air, was basically what it comes down to is with this line, he actually can't really go into Air Force in a nice way, like never. But as we can see with the plunder, well, I think he also has to win something that is in here. Then he can still go to the 92 without the Air Force. So maybe it's actually fine that he does this. And actually with this, maybe even with this, because of like double patriotism, if you just like disband the whole stuff, probably can go to 92. Yeah, I think so, probably. I would assume so. So actually, I think I was the one that missed that. I thought with this multimedia, he cannot go into Air Forces, but without Air Force, he still goes to 92, which, I mean, again, I think Barbusha is good for, like, if he wars anyone, it's best to war Daniel, that for sure. Like, I think plus 16, and we're both competing, and now he also goes for this green line with the multimedia, and he can go into movies, so he will get a lot more culture than me. Unless I get the red cross. But I think at this point, Daniel is a little bit more scary than me. And he will win way more points against Daniel at this point. So, yeah. Let's see what Gross does. Gross got plundered, so he cannot really get. Yeah, doesn't have as many resources, but he still gets +9 and +3, so +12. We can get 3 free upgrades. Go for endowment and reserves. Doesn't upgrade this last one, which he could. Maybe he still wants to draw something. Maybe he doesn't. He don't knows what is in there and doesn't care about strength events or something. I'm not really sure, but it was interesting. And yeah, here's civil unrest. So both immigration and civil unrest did come out as I was expecting. And yeah, Barbusha doesn't war anyone. I'm pretty sure he had one. I think like he said some things that he was actually looking if he can war me, but it wasn't really worth it. And then I was like, and what about warring Daniel? He was like, oh, I didn't really look at that. I mean, that's another thing to keep in mind. Just because you see everything and you calculate everything out doesn't mean that someone else will. And especially if Barbusha is already in a winning spot, he might just be like, oh, maybe I can war Daniel, but it's like a lot of work and I'm already winning. It's actually very real thing to take into account. I think it's very real. Like just because something is a bad play, if it's extremely difficult to spot, which some of this is, which I will go into in just one moment, something I didn't spot either, but I saw it during the game obviously because it happened. But yeah, just because there's like there's some very cool idea where he can win, but if it's a very difficult idea, then you shouldn't count on the opponents doing it. And it's, yeah, again, especially in this situation where he's just winning, he was like, oh, can I war Pitor? It's pretty easy to calculate. Can he war Daniel? Then he has to think like, oh, some air forces here or no air force. Then he builds like some extra stuff, and it's like, do I disband? And then he's like, you know what? Let me just win, you know. So I think it's nice, right? There's so many little things, and I think it matters. Like just like that little mind game that I played with the bidding. There's all these kinds of little things, and they add up, you know. And even things that are not really game related, like some psychology stuff and all this stuff. I actually do try to think about some of that stuff sometimes. I just think it's fun, and I also just it just pops into my mind sometimes. I'm like, but what if he just thinks I'm just winning? I'm like, yeah, that could definitely just happen, and then he just doesn't war, but also not against me. So, um, yeah, it reminds me of like playing some chess, and then it's like, okay, I this is probably the best move, but what if I just trade down if I'm winning anyway, right? Just don't complicate the position if you're already winning. I think it's very valid. Like you can't say it's a wrong move if it's forced win, right? So yeah, he displays the democracy, just get some pro sports, even makes a fourth computer instead of just making a rifleman to get stronger. Apparently he's not afraid to get aggressed. Maybe also, yeah, again, not afraid for any impacts or things or uh, events. Okay, takes the oil mainly for the Nobel and the wonder. And here I see the progress, and here it comes to wealthy territory. Now we can't really bid on it, but Daniel can send his one warrior, and now he has like 1 billion rocks, which is kind of scary because he doesn't have to be scared. Next turn, he cannot be aggressed. Of course, he cannot be warred. And so he can just build multimedias with his leader. I just keep forgetting the name. Yeah, Flaming, of course. But the progress is super sick because now I have the democracy in hand and the navigation here. And if I go to democracy, I get +3 points as well. And then another +6 from the impact of progress. So I was like, okay, okay. And moreover, I got this food, and I was thinking if I just play this cavalryman right now, then I can get a nice Nobel. So just playing this cavalryman is just 4 points. So I think I should do that. Because with the revolutionary idea, I can just go into democracy, and I don't really need the air forces anymore. And instead of taking this efficient upgrade, I just decided to go and play my reserves for food. Then I can either like do a pop and just make anything that I want with all these rocks, or I can get the red cross going. Now I can only make. Actually, I can do like ref into democracy, which then gives me +3, but I use 2, so I get basically this +1, so 7 CA left. I can maybe take this for 3, and then I can do four steps. So if I would not get the food, I would go to 12, which is already 4 steps. So I didn't really need the food for anything, but I thought if there's any world, I actually never need more rocks, pretty much. So I just decided to get some more food. And because I don't take this efficient upgrade, it makes this red cross not fall down to 1 civil action on Gross's turn. And on Daniel's turn, he can take the red cross, but it takes all his actions. And then on Gross's turn, if it also remains on the 2 CA, then it also costs him 5 actions. And so I thought with this move, it was very likely that this red cross survives. And then this question, does Barbusha want me to win? Or is he gonna deny it? So this game is just all in Barbusha's hand. Does he want to war someone? Does he want to give me some stuff? Maybe also what he wants to seed from the impacts. But yeah, now Daniel actually has so many rocks, and he didn't get punished for this multimedia. Ah, I needed to talk about something, right? So as you can see, he just made the movies for 10 and he had one science left. So he had 11 science. What happened? He cannot go into Air Forces, right? So I want to show you one more thing because this is the picture that we need. Basically, Barbusha just ended his turn. And I was wondering, what if he would have war Danio, right? And so, or did I just end my turn? I think no, Barbusha ended his turn, right? So basically, there's two cards coming, and if he wars Danio with basically 100 strength, it actually turns out that Danio cannot ever go into Air Force. If Air Forces are on 3, now he doesn't have Newton anymore, so it actually costs 4 actions to get it into play. And then he doesn't have enough actions to get 2 Air Forces. Well, actually, he can disband a warrior, make an Air Force, and make a unit to make an Air Force. Because now he's not warring, so he doesn't need all the MA in the world. But because of this unhappy phase from the end of the age that is coming, he will have uprising if that is the case. So if he disbands this warrior and make Air Force and then make one more, he will actually have uprising. So that means it's extremely bad for him. But I guess he could defend, but then he would have uprising, which is which one is better? Maybe uprising is the play, I guess. Yeah, that's definitely the play, right? Uprising. Wait, so he could do it or what? 3, 4. Yeah, I actually didn't. Ah, yeah. See, there's so many things, right? So if he does that, he actually goes to mm, the Air Force is 5 plus 13, 18, 36. So that is 100, but he loses this wire, so 98. He goes to 98. So Barbusha would always win, but they wouldn't actually win a lot. So actually, it is not so good if the Air Force come out. To war, interesting. Okay. Yeah, because I actually forgot. Oh no, it's not true, right? Because he sent away this warrior, right? Wait, what's happening? No, but he doesn't need to send away this warrior. He does have enough to just make air forces. So if he gets warrior, he would just not send away the warrior. That's basically it. Yeah, and then he could actually do it. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, he could actually defend. He would have an uprising, but Barbusha wouldn't gain a lot. So maybe it's not good for him. Now the funny thing is, if yeah, I'm sorry, it is dragging on, but I just want to be complete because it's kind of interesting to me, but it's a lot. I know. Um, so if you if you're not following anymore, it's okay, I guess. Um, but if you can follow, nice. So if he attacks air forces, he can actually make 2 air forces. But if air forces come here, then the only way that happens is if the age ended. Because now 2 comes out, and there's 2 more in the deck. So the first spot that can be here is here with 2 cards left. So if it goes here, then there's at least 3 cards out. So then the age ends, and so if it's on 2, then we could do everything. But then the age ends, and what happened is he ended the turn on 13 science on his turn. So you're like, okay, he always has enough science for the air forces. But with the scientific cooperation pact, Barbusha, if he attacks with a war, actually makes 2 the pro sports and the air forces, 2 technologies, which then leaves Daniel with -2. So then he goes to what he has now, 11. And then because the age ends, the air forces go from 10 science to 12. So even though he starts with 13, he actually doesn't have enough science because he goes -2 from the cooperation and then another -2 from the end of the age, ending the cooperation. So, funnily enough, if he wars, Barbusha wars Danio, I could just decide to end the age and then he would lose the biggest war. And that would be good for me, so that's what I would do. So that's another mind game where like Barbusha could think that I want to do something that is good for me, so I would end the age, which would also make his war better, you know? So all these mind games and things. But again, Barbusha's just winning, so why bother, right? So, but I don't know. It was interesting. This all for Air Forces thing where if it's on 3CA, I thought it was awkward because then he doesn't have enough actions. But then actually, if it goes to the 2CA, then he doesn't have the science anymore because of the cooperation pact. So I thought he was just cocked either way, but he actually can just build without Air Force a good defense, and even with the Air Force, he can just disband this if he doesn't bid on the wealthy territory. Okay, we're almost there, guys. Who is actually gonna win? Now he gets everything he wants because he just can send away the thing for 9 rocks, and then he just builds this. And this is a very interesting move because he actually disbands because he doesn't have enough CA to make all this. Actually, he does have enough CA. He actually just decides to upgrade this farm with his last CA instead of. So he actually disbands this to upgrade the farm with CA. Instead of just disbanding like a mine and keeping the strength. Now he just checked Barbusha with his leader, and I think he saw that Barbusha doesn't have aggressions or something. Because what happens now is very interesting. And even even with all this, it might still be incorrect what he did because he basically baits an aggression and he has to give away 3 defense cards. I mean, yeah. Um, Now that is why he went so low. Then he saw that Barbusha doesn't have an aggression, I guess, and then I can't aggress because I'm Gandhi, and then Gross also doesn't have any draw. So maybe if you had only one aggression, then he knows that this is the last aggression and no one can actually touch him anymore. But of course, I mean, someone could still have impact of strength. So I think that Daniel actually maybe discarded impact of strength earlier as well, because otherwise it can come out and then suddenly you lose 1 billion points, right? But not only that, like he knows Gross will try this most likely. If Gross doesn't have anything to seed, which I don't know, maybe he does, then he would just cancel my pact, and that would actually basically give Daniel +2 points because he only cares about me at this point. So even knowing that he's safe, maybe he would just still want the military here, just because it gives him also two points. Okay, and then the last turn, and the big question. Then the impact of quality is very bad because that's basically the worst one for me. +9 for Daniel. I don't know who seeded it, but yeah. And now the question is, does he give me the red cross? Because then I instantly win. I get +24, someone finishes it, I get another 6. Now, I mean, Daniel finishes it, he gets 6, but I get 6 back, so I get +24. And then I always get second at least. And maybe there's one world where I can even get first at that point. Maybe there's some world. Not a big world, but there's some world. So he gets space flight for 35. Gets the Nobel, and he does kill the Red Cross. So I felt like I was a little bit grieved this game. First, I get the golden eye, and then he doesn't war Daniel, which I think is the best move. objectively, but I mean, again, it doesn't matter for him too much. Uh, but this one is just, I mean, it also doesn't matter if he takes it away or not, right? I mean, he can also just take some other cards. Um, but yeah, I mean, this is probably the best move for him. So I guess I cannot really be upset about that. But basically, any choice that he had, I felt like, I mean, okay, he could have also warned me. That would be like really, really insanely bad, of course. But I felt like the most natural moves would be to kill Daniel, and then maybe Gross doesn't take the call, but maybe it does. I don't know. Not sure. Not so clear, but I just don't know that that would yeah. I feel like the targeted things were against me, if anything. But yeah, it's I'm not actually mad, but I was a little bit annoyed. I was like, oh, I'm gonna lose the game because of this. Basically, Barbusha has the choice to let me win, and you know, I mean, it's fair. I mean, okay, I think him taking the wonder is fair. I think that is like, if I get this wonder, there's like a world that I can even get first. Of course, he only cares about the top two in this championship, but of course you would rather want to get first. I think this one is completely fair. Maybe the war would be good, but yeah, again, don't really have to muddy the waters. But yeah, it was and then the call. I was not sure if that was so correct to take, but so everything. I mean, everything is defensible for sure, but everything was just not in my favor. So I was a bit annoyed, but of course nothing personal. But it was just like I was just annoyed. Um, but yeah, I got the democracy, very good impact, and I also see the very nice impact with the impact of competition. No, making 4 arenas, and yeah, Daniel never improved his strength. Now, yeah, there's definitely yeah, I try to optimize a little bit variety, a little bit of competition. I saw that if I can get a bit stronger with this, but basically Daniel, it's really just if he goes for one rifleman or not, just makes a difference if he's stronger or not. Doesn't matter if I don't have a swordsman or a cavalry, so I might as well take the cavalry for the +1 point. And I got lucky here because I just improved my architecture and I just gained +6 points. So this was some good fortune. I also got very lucky with the James Watt, so I definitely had some good fortune in this game. So that's something I would not complain about. And he also does a move, and he actually has +22 culture, which is pretty sick. And so here I seeded impact of progress, which gives me like +10, impact of competition, which gives me like +10. His, yeah, most important impacts were out. I think like culture I had in hand. Now science he gets +5, and I mean colony is out, and basically yeah, strength. I was curious if he would go higher strength, then he would go I think to 61, and but then Gross would overtake, so that would also be +5. But I think yeah, he kept his strength 45. I think that is again saying that he probably has drawn it before and just discarded. I feel like maybe. Yeah, impact of technology was another one. I felt like was in there maybe like at the last moment even. I put some H2 things for the Nobel Prize, and then I have only 3, but so that's -4, not very good. But this 20 is still what I have, and I feel like this might be his seed. Of course, it can also be Barbusha's, but I kind of have the feeling that it was his seed. So I felt like it was gonna be extremely close still at this point. And there is impact of variety, so my knight gets a little bit extra points, but we're still only equal, so it's still +20, but I still have +20 from my thing, so it's still very close. Someone seed agriculture, so my +4 and also +2 from, of course, what going away is, yeah, if what goes away, you get equal to the production of your best farm or mine, so that's also instead of 3 goes to 5. So there's +2 and then another +4. So I get +6 from that move. So that was felt pretty nice, even though I didn't get the red cross. This is the progress. So here I get the big one, +10. And yeah, as you can see, Gross is kind of getting owned by the impact. There's my other one, competition, +9. So now I'm +3, 2 events, but probably one of them is Daniel's. And here is science. That was the one I was most afraid of. And now he goes +2. So what is the last impact? Impact of population. I was like, okay, my yellow bag is completely done. And it's +6. And I get second. Holy shit. And not only that, I got 6 points from that pact. And without the 6 points, I would have lost. So if I didn't give the pact and everything would be exactly the same, which of course it might not be. But it definitely does show you that that every point matters here in that pact. From the points alone, not only from big swings with some wars, but also just a few points makes a big difference. And so I didn't play this perfectly, but I was very happy in the end because it was very hard to navigate and I made some pretty clutch decisions. And ultimately it was enough. So Barbusha and me go into the finals. So yeah, very cool. And yeah, the other one is like halfway. I know Weidenbaum was playing there. He's still in, and he told me he's doing quite well. So who knows? I have a feeling that we're gonna meet in the finals. Then it will be Babusha, me, him, and someone else, and it will be fun. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.